He stood there smiling, shaking my hand as if we were old friends. Meanwhile, the guy next to him, my business partner, was gushing about how this man had single-handedly turned my company around. My company, my work, my blood, sweat, and years. And in that moment, I realized he had stolen my legacy. But karma? Oh, karma was just getting warmed up. If you've ever had someone take credit for your hard work, lie to your face, or walk away like they were the hero, then hit that like button. Because this story, it's for you. Subscribe if you believe in long overdue karma, and let's get into one of the most satisfying revenge stories you'll hear today. About 10 years ago, I walked into what most people would call a corporate graveyard. The building still stood, the machines still worked, but the soul of the place? Gone. 50 employees had been reduced to 3, not because of layoffs, but because the company was dying. And my job was simple, but brutal. Bring it back from the dead, or watch it collapse for good. It specialized in custom, small batch, high-precision parts, a very niche space, but with real potential if you knew how to run lean, smart, and fast. So that's what I did. I cut the bloat, restructured workflows, automated where we could, brought in new tech, hired carefully, trained deliberately. And after 2 years of near sleepless nights, constant pressure, and calculated risks, we were thriving. Revenue shot up to $10 million. Every employee brought in at least $100,000 in profit. The parent company was thrilled. We were finally back. And that's when I met Bob. Now, let's be fair. Bob wasn't useless. He had a few solid skills. He knew how to operate specific machines. He wasn't the best, not even close, but he did okay. Enough to keep around for a while. But as we kept growing, it became clear Bob wasn't keeping pace. Where others were improving, Bob plateaued. He just didn't have the adaptability or precision we now needed. And this next part, it's where I tried to be decent. I sat Bob down and gave it to him straight. Bob, you've got 2 months to find another job. I'll give you a good reference for what you are good at, but I won't lie. You got to keep up your usual work during that time, but I'll be flexible with interviews. To Bob's credit, he didn't slack off. His output stayed consistent, low bar, sure, but he didn't try to make things harder. Eventually, he landed a job. Ironically, with a company we partnered with. And he didn't use me as a reference. That told me something, but fine. He was gone. We kept succeeding. Life moved on. Fast forward a few years. I'm flying out to meet with that same partner company. Nothing unusual. Routine check-in. Business talk. Maybe a few drinks. But the moment I walked through the door, guess who greets me with a wide, too friendly smile? Bob. Standing right next to our main contact. Let's call him Charlie. We shake hands. Polite smiles. Surface level small talk. You know the drill. And then it happens. Charlie claps Bob on the back and goes, "Man, you're so lucky to have this guy. Bob really turned things around for you, huh? Total transformation." I blinked. "What?" He continued. "Honestly, Bob told me all about the early days. Sounded like a real mess before he came in, but he straightened it all out. You guys were in rough shape." I was stunned. The things Charlie was saying? The transformations, the restructuring, the tech integrations. Those were my contributions. The blood, sweat, tears kind. And Bob? Bob was just watching it all happen, barely holding his own. Charlie added, like an afterthought, "Well, I'm sure you helped too. What was your name again?" "Oh yeah, Hill." I smiled. On the outside. But inside? Fury. Confusion. Betrayal. Not just because Bob had lied, but because he'd gotten away with it. I could feel the heat rise in my neck. My jaw tightened. But I said nothing. Just offered a cool. Glad Bob found a good fit. Then I flew home. You ever walk away from a moment and replay it 1,000 times? Wishing you'd said something, anything? Yeah, that was me on the plane ride home. I wanted to scream. How dare he take my work and turn it into a story? How dare he erase my sacrifices and paint himself as the savior? But I let it go. Sort of. I left the company, ready for my next adventure. The company stayed afloat, even with COVID and other shocks hitting the industry. I'd put the right people in place, and it showed. I stayed close with the new general manager, someone I'd hired and trusted deeply. Meanwhile, Bob, I'd see him around once in a while. Always performative. Fake smiles. Forced greetings. Then one day, I got the call. It was the GM, the one I hired to take over after I left. "Hey, you know a guy named Bob?" I held back a laugh. "Unfortunately, yes." "Why?" Turns out, Bob had applied for a prestigious position at my old company, the company I saved, the one he had once walked out of with a lie on his lips. He'd claimed he was responsible for all the major changes, the innovations, the turnaround. The GM was impressed, but just wanted to check in with me since they never overlapped. So I told the truth. No anger, no drama, just the truth. Bob was okay at certain things, but he had nothing to do with the transformation. That was my work, and everyone here knows it. The GM thanked me, and Bob didn't get the job. The moment I heard he was passed over, I felt it, that rush of quiet justice. No need to gloat, no confrontation, no burned bridges, just the truth, finally catching up to the lie. Bob had built his little house of cards on top of my legacy, and I had let it slide for years. But now, the wind had changed, and karma just did what it does best. You know, sometimes revenge isn't loud, it's not dramatic, it doesn't come with fireworks. Sometimes, it's just a quiet phone call, and the right person telling the truth at the right time. Bob thought he could fake a legacy,